Ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome back to looking at another Nerf blaster on my channel. My name is Luke Trison, and today we are covering the Mediator. This is a spring-powered pump-action blaster in the Modulus line, and this is one of the more interesting and somewhat more unique blasters that I've been able to get my hands on. So I don't know if this is still available here in the UK. I got mine not too long ago as part of a clearance sale at Argos. And I got mine for £15. You can get this between £15 and £20 maybe online. Other sites like eBay, for example, might be able to get them a little bit cheaper. And it's weird because there's no attachments with this. Well, technically there is, but we'll look at that later on. But for something kind of this small on its own, it's a bit odd for Nerf to kind of do something like that. So we'll get into the attachments again later on, and you're probably going to hear me say this is odd a few times in this video, so just prepare yourselves for that. So the first thing I want to quickly mention is look how thin that blaster is. I think that is quite amazing how they've been able to achieve that. But it looks a bit weird. When you get other attachments and kind of deck out your blaster, it really makes this look really small, and you kind of want this to be a little bit more thicker. Again, not too much of a problem, and nothing to really worry about, say, in comparison to a Strife, because that's a battery-operated blaster and you need all this extra space to be able to have all that housing for the electronics. But this is actually quite nice. So this is a pump action blaster, and it does have slam fire, and that is something I do like with my spring blasters. I don't use spring power blasters often, but whenever I do, I would rather go for one that has the what's the word? Slam fire. That's it. I forgot that for a second. So something like this. I've got the Tri-Strike, I've got the Scavenger, I've still got an old Raider behind me, and they all have slam fire. Now, whilst again I wouldn't use a spring power blaster, it's nice to be able to have that option because it's, what's the phrase I'm looking for? It's more competitive, I think the best way to say it is, because if you're having a house game, you may as well just use a spring blaster or just anything you want because it's a house game. But if you're going out to a proper Nerf war with other people, you need something flow powered to be more competitive. So included is a 6-dart magazine, which I tossed to a side because I don't ever use these. What's the point in having a 6-dart magazine when you can get a 10, 12, 18, or even drums? So yeah, that's a bit pointless. But at the same time, it does look quite nice with this sort of compact, sort of miniaturized scale of a blaster. And all in all, this is really cool. Because it's in the Modulus line, of course, you do get a barrel and stock attachment point, and you have 2 tactical rails, one on the top, one on the side. Your magazine holder or your torch is going to go there, so yeah. You could put other stuff there, of course, because it's a tactical rail, but what else would you put there, for goodness sakes, come on. So in this series, we look at Nerf blasters and I decide whether it's worth the purchase. And this is a surprisingly quick video because this is literally it. You get this on its own. So the blaster itself, I would say, is definitely worth the purchase. It's a much smaller blaster, you can customize it however you like, and I think this is definitely more oriented for more close quarters builds, but we'll look at that in the combos episode for this blaster. But let me show you what the 2 attachments that go with this blaster actually look like, because these are 2 of the best attachments ever made, not just for the Modulus line, but in general. I'm not going to go into them in super details because you can buy these separately. I'm going to do their its own video. So we're going to have a quick look at the blaster. That is a air tank powered shotgun blaster, which I think is very cool. And we have a super long stock with another blaster in it, which I think is also very cool. So yeah, all in all, looking at that, that looks spectacular. I love that so much. So yeah, this is a very interesting way of how Nerf has decided to package this, because this is sold on its own, this is sold on its own, this is sold on its own, but the idea is to buy all 3 and put them together. Why couldn't Nerf just sell it as a whole package? Now this is £15, I'm assuming it's about the same for these other 2, which is going to be pretty pricey. Honestly, £40 on average for something like this, brand new, I don't think that's really worth it. Now personally, I think all attachments are worth buying because they're always going to be something different, it's something new to your arsenal, it introduces a potential new playstyle, and it's just, you know, it's a toy, it's fun. But for how much you have to pay to get all of these individual pieces together, it's not really worth it. I mean, there are other things you can get out there. If you can find one all together or find them individually at really good prices, obviously go for it because these are really good. But don't see this as a go-to. It's really weird for me to kind of conflict myself and go back and forth on this. But that's solely because how Nerf decided to package this. So I'm going to take these off and focus the attention back onto the blaster because that's what this video is about. So yeah, that is pretty much everything. That is, again, a really short video. It's really odd for me to say, yes, this is very cool, but because it's supposed to be sold as a much bigger product and say that overall it's not worth it, it's really weird. And again, I'm still going back and forth, but I can't explain that any better. It's a real shame that Nerf decided to sell the Mediator, the barrel and the stock all separately, and I really, really hope they don't do that again in the future. For goodness sakes, it's difficult for us here in the UK to get a lot of Nerf products in the first place. Half the Nerf products that Nerf release over in the US don't come over here to the UK. And when I saw this, I thought, oh my god, I need that because that looks really cool. When I first discovered that they were sold separately, that was a massive turn-off. But in time, I was able to find them at good prices, and yeah, eventually I got them. But it did take a while to convince myself to do so, which is a problem. So, I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to put the blaster down because it's now time to record the attachments video for the Mediator stock and barrel. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all ever so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.